Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Search Committee, specifically at the College of the Florida Keys. My name is Russell Spears, and it's an honor to apply for this position in business. Now, what we're going to do today, since we have very limited time, I'm going to run you through kind of a sample lecture here. And this lecture really applies to business. Backbone is in finance, business, equities, economics. It's all there. So I want to take a concept that is really needed to be taught, and I'm going to apply it to business. Now that concept is elasticity. All right, so this elasticity of demand is just simply the fact that, hey, consumers are going to respond to price changes, and we got to be careful because we know for a fact that if we price too high, that's going to hurt us as a business, right? If it's priced too low, well, if it's priced too low, we can kind of bump it up, but it all depends on the elasticity of what we call demand. And so, as we know, the higher the price, the less we buy. The lower the price, the more we buy. But how much higher? How much lower, right? And so, this lecture will show us that this is a thing. This matters. And so, I came up with kind of three uses of this stuff. Now, elasticity, just think responsiveness to price changes, right? So price changes a little bit, we could respond a little bit, or we could respond a lot. And so this is where elasticity comes in. This is very, very valuable for business. And I found three uses here, and some are textual, some are not. I kind of came up with these based on experience in banking and experience in equities. Now, the first use, we want to maximize that revenue. And as you've learned probably throughout the lecture, right, and in previous lectures throughout the course, it's price times quantity. It's price of your product, how much people buy. Pretty simple, right? But we want to maximize that. So the more revenue we bring in, the more profit we got. Now, the second thing, we know sometimes our costs can go up, but we got to be careful in a supply chain. You're going to learn this, right? If you ever get into this sector, the supply chain, your distributor costs may go up. Well, we can't pass along those costs all the way to the consumer. If we do that, we may lose business. Now, what's going to happen here is we're going to see how much of that cost we can pass along. Elasticity tells us that. Now, the third and last thing here, we're going to optimize the price. Now, that's a fancy word for just saying what's the best price we got. And so the best price to charge is going to really come from our elasticity concept. Now, how do we find it? Yeah, we're going to go old school here, right? So we're going to come up with a formula. Yeah, you can throw this in Excel, you can throw this in the calculator, but we're going to walk through this, and for time constraint, we're just going to do one quick example, right? So the first example we're going to do is we're going to use a formula, and our formula here is percent change of quantity demanded divided by percent change in price. Now you're like, why do you use percentages? Well, I mean, you keep things relative, right? I mean, you want to keep these things relative so we can compare items. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to look at some rules, right? So the rules, if we calculate this, we're going to keep things absolute, by the way, right? So we'll keep these absolute, keep it positive, because you're going to look at changes are about the same. And we use the midpoint formula here in a second. And so this midpoint formula is just going to clean it up, right? And so we're going to have some issues here, right? We're going to have some numbers. If it's greater than 1, all right, we're going to say it's elastic, meaning very responsive. People, consumers, us, we're very responsive to price changes. Think high competition here. Think you got a bunch of competitors down the road, so you got to be careful, right? And so, okay, well, if elasticity is less than 1, it's inelastic, which just simply means, all right, well, I mean, people aren't going to be that responsive to your price change. All right, well, this is a big deal because if it's less than 1, right, it's inelastic, people don't respond that much to price changes. What can you do? Bump up the price a little bit, maximize that revenue. That's where we're going. Where are we going? What do we want to hang out? Where's that area? Well, the area we want to hang out as with elasticity equals 1. And the reason we do that, because we have really gone through that list from earlier and we found the best price possible. Now remember, if it's elastic, all right, if it's greater than 1, we got to be careful because we're very competitive, all right? We got to look at our competitor down the road and we don't want to lose to them, right? But we can get away with lowering price because if we lower price, people go wild, right? So they'll buy a heck of a lot more. If it's inelastic, well, we can get away with bumping up our price. People aren't going to respond that much, still buy the product. So we're going to hang out, again, where elasticity equals 1. A couple of extreme cases here, right? We have where there's no elasticity at all. Our elasticity equals 0. No elasticity, perfectly inelastic. Think of insulin, think severe cases of medical treatment, right? To an extent. But then you have perfectly elastic, meaning it's super competitive, right? The smallest change in price is going to shift quantity demanded or the willingness to buy way to the left or way to the right. And then think here, like the whole $1.99, $2 like dilemma. Everybody's gonna go to the $1.99. This is perfect substitutable goods, right? Versus the $2 even price. Now, again, we've gone through these. We don't want to be here. If we're up here, what we're going to want to do, if we're up there with elastic, right? Elasticity, very elastic product point, then a price point, we're going to have to lower price a little bit because we can bring in a heck of a lot more customers. And then if it's less than one, remember we've been through this. What we're going to do, we're like, hey, let's bump up this price, bump it up, or it's inelastic. We're going to respond that much. Well, again, we're going to hit this area here of unit elasticity, and that is where we're going to hang out. Now, let's do a quick example here. Very quick example. I come from music, I come from sports, but we're going to use my band as an example, my old band. Clearly, we didn't hit it big, but since I'm interviewing for this job, but we didn't hit it big, but let's say we did, right? So let's say we went on, we were selling out arenas, and we're like, hey, what do we charge? And we got some backbones in business, and we're like, all right, well, how do we price our tickets? Right, well, you got to be careful here. If you're a band manager, you got to be businessy, because how do bands make money? They tour. All right, and to keep touring, that's how you make more money. Now, royalties don't pay that much anymore, so you want to make your money touring. That's how you do it. You got to price the ticket right. So how do you price that ticket right? Elasticity. So let's look at this example, right? So I'll just real quickly go through this. All right, we've got a few scenarios. Let's say we went on tour last summer, scorching summer tour in the Keys. Let's say we just toured all summer, it's fantastic, and we sampled our reports, our financials, and at $90 a ticket, we had 2,000 people at our show. $80, 4,000, $55, 9,000, $45, 11,000, $20, 16,000. And if we charge low, $10, just like a little cover or something, 18,000 people showed up. We're like, hey, let's just get as many people as we can here. Well, we got to be careful here, because remember, if we want to keep touring, we got to make money. And so how do we make money? We got to be with elasticity equals 1. So let's go through this really quickly here, right? And so if you calculate all these elasticities out, if we look at scenarios, say, hey, let's price it in between 80 and 90, or let's price it in between 10 and 20. Well, if we took the time to calculate this out, this is where we use the midpoint formula. All right, if I had a little more time, we would go through this step by step, but we're just looking at the change in quantity divided by the average there on the numerator, on the denominator, the change in price over the average. Now we're going through the scenario, say from $80 to $90, $10 to $20, or we're looking at them like, hey, let's just try in the middle, 45 to 55. Now, ideally, you want as many people there as you want, but at the same time, you got to make the money, right? You got to make the profit so we can keep touring. So let's look at this. Once we calculate all this out, if we price it anywhere between 80 and $90, on the Ticketmaster, the Ticketmaster ticket there at the top right is like anywhere between 80 and 90. Well, 80, $90, okay, we found an elasticity of 5.67. What does that tell us? Ooh, it's very elastic, meaning that if we decrease price a little bit, we'll generate more revenue. Okay, so what happens here at between 20 and 10 or 10 and $20? Like, it's priced low, we got tons of people in our arena, but be careful here, right? Be very, very careful, because we're not maximizing our revenue because our elasticity is not equal to 1. So with that being said, okay, we got 0.17 is our elasticity. What can you do? Let's charge a little bit more. And so if you did a third scenario here, this one I came up with, 45 and 55, kind of go in the middle. Your elasticity is equal to 1. That's where we want to be. And you're like, well, dude, is that really where we want to be? Because, we don't have as many people there. But yeah, that's exactly where we want to be, because we've maximized our revenue. Now, let's check that out. Did we maximize our revenue? Let's test ourselves in this, right? And so, well, did we? Well, at a price of $90, $180,000, right? At a price of 80, we brought in $320K, right? At a price of 20, $320K. If we lowballed it and went $10, $180K. Well, look at our price points between 45 and 55. Brought in $500,000. Right? That's where we want to be. And you're like, well, which one do we charge? Well, if you're smart, you charge the 45, right? Because if you charge the 45, sure, you get more people in there. People get to talking about, hey, that was a good show. They invite their friends. You could hope that consumer surplus is what we called it in economics, right? That consumer surplus, they would maybe spend money at the show, buy our swag, buy a t-shirt, buy something of ours, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of probably where we would want to be. But the correct answer is, yeah, let's keep it in between $45 and $55. So, have we maximized revenue? Yes. Have we observed the cost test? Yeah, we looked at that. What if our costs did go up? Well, we can't pass along all those costs. What if the security guard wanted more money? Well, the security guard wanted more money. That could be a problem, right? We got to pass along those costs, but how much of those costs can we pass along? We've done that. Have we optimized price? Is our elasticity equal to 1? Yeah. So we've optimized price. And so you can use this concept here in if you open a restaurant, if you start any kind of like lawn service, right, in the beach, you can serve like a surfboard company or whatever it is, right? You can use elasticity to figure out what the best price is to maximize that revenue, maximize profit. If you're a band, you can keep touring. Have a good night.